more evidence of Spencer working for the feds seeps out. There is no smoking gun, as yet, that Richard Spencer has been turned and is working hand in glove with feds or other shadowy Antifa organizations that seek to police the right-wing criticosphere. However, there is an increasing amount of chatter and circumstantial evidence that points squarely in that direction. Spencer, of course, famously founded the alt-right, and even pushed it in a clearly Nazi direction from 2015 to 2018, before mysteriously backtracking around 2019, even to the point of supporting Joe Biden in the 2020 presidential election. This was also echoed by the actions of those close to Spencer, such as Evan McLaren, the former head of Spencer's National Policy Institute. A recent conversation on Twitter, involving a number of participants, including Antifa authors Shane Burley, Michael Edison Hayden, who is a senior investigative reporter and spokesperson for the SPLC, and Heterodorks, a transsexual podcaster, showed a remarkably sympathetic and knowing attitude to Spencer. After Heterodorks questioned the sincerity of Spencer's recent move to the center, Hayden was quick to leap to his defense. Quote, Heterodorks, Richard Spencer is not a dyed-in-the-wool fascist, as he now portrays himself, as someone who has disavowed white nationalism and describes himself as pretty much a liberal on a variety of issues. Do you believe him? Not me. I consider him unreliable. What do I think is more likely? That Richard Spencer is an honest dealer and we should take his words at face value? Or do I think Richard Spencer would say things to provoke responses or sow chaos? Hayden, knowing considerably more about Richard and his activism than you do, I would suggest treating the subject with a little more humility. End quote. This is obvious code for give our asset a break. Heterodorks then probed a little deeper, drawing a rather terse but spook-like comment from Hayden. Quote, Heterodorks, Michael, it doesn't surprise me at all that you prescribe humility for others. But since you're the expert, do you believe that Richard Spencer is now a moderate, as he claims? Hayden, not talking about this publicly, but you don't know what's going on. End quote. Like I said, this is not a smoking gun, but the only way to read this for an intelligent person is that there is clearly some sort of understanding between Spencer and the SPLC and beyond, i.e. the feds. This would explain Spencer's radical ideological U-turn of a couple of years ago, and might even be one of the reasons behind his divorce from his strongly Putinist Russian wife, Nina. There is some evidence that Spencer effectively self-destructed his own marriage. For example, by accusing his wife of having an affair with former comrade Colin Liddell on her frequent trips to Japan. It may also explain his absurd embrace of an Apollonian identity, a clear smokescreen technique to cover the blatant illogicality of his turn-on-a-dime transformation from a Nazi-tard to a NATO and Biden supporter. From the conversation quoted, it is clear that the understanding between Spencer and the SPLC/feds involves them going easy on him. The next logical question to ask, therefore, is what is Spencer giving them in return? Apart from pro-globo homo takes. Does it also involve doxing information on the hundreds of dissident right personalities that Spencer has interacted with over the years? It would indeed be odd for the feds to cut a deal with someone that didn't involve that kind of disclosure.